All right, we are live on YouTube and Instagram should be going right now. All right, it is the Tossing Salad Podcast. We are live, a Friday night live, with our friend, a semi-regular guest, Amanda, the ever hopeful gardener, on what I am loosely calling the Barely Passable Live series, which Amanda, I think you're the one that came up with the name, and I was like, I kind of like it. You're on here all the time. You think that works for us?
I do, but I think it's actually being generous.
Well, it's one of those things to where I feel like a few weeks go by, and then I'm like, I need to talk to Amanda, or I need to check in. I need to see what she's thinking about this or that. And we're always kind of throwing things together last minute. I mean, just 20 minutes ago, Amanda's like, well, are you going to send me the link so I can get on the live? I was like, oh, shit, I forgot about that. And then, like, we're both just scarfing down food so that we can get on the live and partake in a little bit of, like, end of the week adult beverages.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's Friday happy hour.
Which, let's get that out of the way first. Do you have something here tonight that you're bringing to the table? What are we having?
I'm drinking a jalapeno pale ale.
Interesting. Is it spicy?
It is.
Oh.
I like it. I like adding, like, I love growing spicy peppers in my garden to be able to add them to cocktails and beers.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely try it. I'm just not a pale ale guy, though.
Well, it's more like an IPA.
Yeah, I'm not an IPA guy.
Yeah, you like Guinness.
I do. I like Guinness, and I like, if I have to drink a beer and there's no Guinness around, I'll do something kind of light or something.
Okay, well, what are you drinking
Well, tonight I'm doing something brand new, something that I haven't done on a live in ever, I guess. It's called
cocktail?
Can you see that? Where's my camera? It's black and
sake?
gold sake.
Oh, fancy, Brian.
So we had gone to the Asian market last Saturday, dropped like $300, just went crazy buying all kinds of things. That were like, what is that? We're like, well, let's just try it. And I was like, well, we got to have sake then if we're gonna. It was just a random mishmash of everything, like in the Far East. It's like a superstore. You had rows of Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Indian, anything.
All right. Do you drink it hot or you drink it cold?
I like mine hot, and I had mine hot when we had it last week. Tonight, I was like, I can't get my shit together to where I've got warm sake ready to go, so I'm going to have it kind of cold while we're here tonight.
I have tried sake one time in my life when I was in Chicago, and it was so gross. I spit it out on my plate of food. I couldn't help it.
Really?
Maybe it was really bad sake.
I mean,
there's not much I won't drink.
It's a different like, isn't it like fermented rice alcohol or something? I kind of forget.
I don't know. I just don't understand people that like it.
I think it's a unique flavor. I can see why people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So to tell you guys what we're doing tonight on the live, we are going to dive into what it's like being either a creator or somebody that puts together a lot of stuff on social media and having to deal with positives and negatives within your comment section. Mm-hmm. So Amanda's been around for a while. She's got a nice, healthy garden account over on Instagram. She's, I think, over, where are you at now? Because the last I looked, you're like 102,000. 119,000. So way more than what we have over here. And you've been through, seen a lot, been called a lot, and good stuff, bad stuff, whatever. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight in what our experiences are in dealing with the comment section, and whether it's mostly good, bad, maybe something that if you're a creator or somebody that is active online and you're not, right now you're not getting a lot of comments or interaction or whatever, maybe this is something that you can kind of keep in the back of your head as your account kind of grows. Like, do you think that if you can talk to Amanda from, what have you been on Instagram for 4 years? 3
This
years?
May will be 4. Yeah.
Is there anything that you would tell yourself before your account started to kind of go gangbusters?
Nope. Because I don't think telling yourself I don't think you'll believe it. And I don't think you'll do anything different, because you'll just think, I can handle it. It's not that bad. So no.
And what's the state, like, how would you sum it up right now with your account that you have? Because it's different than probably 99% of the rest of us, and everything's relative. I understand that, but you're seeing a lot more activity than what a lot of other people probably see. So how does that look kind of on a day-to-day basis for you?
I have to say, I'm preparing myself, because we're headed into gardening season, for it to be a total onslaught. However, during the winter, it's like the trolls went to sleep and we're not as active, because I guess there just wasn't as much to comment on. But I'm prepared for things to ramp up. It's been nicely positive for like the last 4 months, but I know it won't stay that way.
Do you get, like, knowing you're going into the winter months because you have a gardening account, does it bum you out a little bit, because you're like, you get kind of used to all the action in the spring, the summer, the fall, whether it's good or bad, we'll get into that. But knowing you're going to go into the winter to where nobody's really doing anything in gardening, and then the interactions and the comments and all that stuff starts to kind of dive off. I mean, are you starting to see some gardener accounts that you normally interact with? Are they starting to come back? Do you keep up with them in the wintertime, or?
Yeah, well, I do keep up with like a core group of people in the wintertime, and I do still post every single day, almost, even through the winter, because Remy says hi. That way.
I was wondering. I was like, it looked like you had like a TV on in the background. I didn't know that was your dog. I'm looking at you on a really tiny window in the screen that has up here. So
me too. We're both really small. Yeah, no, I keep up with a good group of people through the winter, and I do still post almost every single day. And I, on purpose, follow lots of Australian accounts so that I can still see beautiful gardening in the winter, because it's their summer.
You know what? I remember that, like, the Australian gardeners that are out there, because we're on the opposite season, right? So they're in the middle of their summer or something. They have all these great things growing, and that's when it's cold, but then you get to turn it around spring, summer, and then they're kind of focused on what you got going on.
Yeah, but you do get kind of like, during the winter, you get lulled into this false sense of the garden community is so amazing. It's so wonderful. Everyone's so positive, because like it's quiet. Nothing bad is happening.
Right.
And spring is coming, and you never know what is going to set people off. You can make what you think is the most harmless video, and people lose their minds. Like, can I put what I think is you and I's first, like, seriously viral troll video up? Can I share it?
Yeah, that's what we're getting into. So we've got, and I'm assuming, I don't know what Amanda has on here or what she's thinking. We literally do no planning for these lives. I imagine, I think I understand where she's going with this. This over on the TikTok side of things?
Yes.
Okay.
I bet you know. And so I tried this earlier, and it definitely glitched. So we'll have to see if it works or not.
Oh, wait, now's the time. If you're heading into winter, get your hoses disconnected. Get these winterized. Super easy. I'm going to show you. These are so cheap. You can pick them up at Home Depot or Lowe's. Grab however many you need. The loop inside is going to go on top there. There we go.
You're gonna cover your
Everything's
faucet,
glitching.
pull the string. Pull the string, it's nice and tight.
Is it playing
Up against the wall,
a little bit?
you're
Or?
done.
Are we okay?
I think so.
I don't think that worked great. How do we make it stop?
I'll remove it here.
Remove it.
So
I think
that was, if you guys, so I'm also, okay, so the setup that we have here, you guys, I'm on YouTube. Amanda's kind of watching Instagram and the comments that are coming on there. Instagram is like 15 seconds behind. I do have another window up. So if I don't see it, I'm going to rely on Amanda to catch your guys' comments on Instagram. And then anybody that's on YouTube, I can interact with you guys over here. But I did see that Julie recognized that video as the hose bib cover video.
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, it glitched. Like when I was like trying to play them on my computer after downloading them, they just, I don't know, they kept glitching, and it also froze us on the stream. So maybe I don't share anymore and I just describe them. But do you first posted the hose bib video as a helpful video. You weren't even trying to be funny. Like it was a legit, here's what I'm doing. It might help you. People,
yeah, go ahead.
They lost their minds.
It was, like you said, and actually I have just a screen cap of that video. If you guys can see, whoops, let's see here. I'm looking for it. Hold on. There we go. So that video that Amanda was talking about was a completely just random video that I decided, it'd be nice just to pass along the information for some people that maybe don't know much about it. They live in colder environments, to just prep their area to get ready for winter. And it went just kind of crazy. You can see here like 2 million views, saved, I think 24,000 times, at 86,000 likes, and probably 5 times the amount of like negative comments. It was kind of crazy. And that was the first, that might've been one of the first videos. Cause I think you just showed it here. I don't know if it went through, but you did a stitch or something on it.
Yeah.
And yours did really well too. Like better than mine, I think.
I think mine was like 1.6 million views, but I will never understand why, if there's something that's not applicable to someone, they don't just keep scrolling. Like the fact that so many people, I mean, I have over 1,000 comments on my video. They took the time to say how stupid it is that they don't have those where they live, that it's unnecessary, that like I live in Florida, I live in California, I live in Arizona. It's like, great, you don't need it then. But for the rest of us that do live somewhere where it helps, like I just don't understand human behavior, I think.
Well, I even remember people that were in climates colder than ours here in St. Louis. So as you're going, if I remember my zones from like 1 to 5, up in Detroit, going into Canada, getting comments from some of those people. They're like, well, we live way the hell up north with worse weather and we don't use it. I said, that's fine. I stopped looking at the comments or replying to them. And I did get some really nice ones from people. Mm-hmm. And I felt bad because I completely abandoned that video. I quit looking at it. I quit responding to people. It was just nasty. And then I got a little, where I wanted to stir the pot a little bit more. So I think I went back later on and just did a couple more videos with it, and they didn't do very much. But yeah, that was one of the first times where I was like, oh man, having a popular video or something, it's not the greatest thing all the time. Yeah.
Let me read you some of the comments. This is incredibly unnecessary. Those things are really good at draining money out of your wallet. Other than that, they are useless. Never in 50 years needed that crap. Waste of money, but they spelled waste wrong. Don't give a fuck. This is total crap and does absolutely nothing to protect your silcock. Waste of money. Just turn the water off inside that pipe. Oh my God, how did I get on dumbass TikTok and how do I get off? Waste of money. I mean, people literally just lost their minds.
It's yeah, I you laugh about it, and then we go back to what we talked about before, is like when you start seeing it over and over again, and as much as you say you want to let it just roll off your back, don't pay attention to the negative ones or whatever, after a while, and you start seeing a lot, especially if you're fortunate, quote, fortunate to have a video get some traction. I'm almost to the point to where I'm like, I'd like it to get above 0 people seeing it, but I don't necessarily want it to get too much attention, because it's so negative sometimes.
And isn't it interesting though that I would have to say in my comments on that video, 75% were positive. They were asking, what is the name of that? I'm going to go pick some of those up. This is so helpful. Thank you. But as humans, we focus on the negative,
Yeah.
no matter how many more positive comments there are. We can't help it.
Yeah.
And I wish it wasn't that way, but maybe it's just me, but I can't help but be like, oh my God, Jeff. Like I run to my husband. I'm like, look at this comment. He's like, why do you let it bother you? And I'm like, I don't know.
But again, when you see it so many different times, and I think the negative comments that you get, we get some of the same kind, but I think even being, I'm a male, you being female, the intent and kind of what's behind it is sometimes different in the negative comments that I get versus what you get. But it's just, so that was one. And that's a great example of one to where you have, like I said, mine had 2 million, yours had pretty close to that on views, and you're just like, oh, and to me, it registers as a negative memory for me. Another one that did pretty well, not as well as that one did as far as views. And this is a different example of our comment section. This is where I would say, and you got to tell me how often this happens to you, to where it's not really directed at you, but people start to fight each other. And do you feel like, are you the referee because it's on your account, or do you just let them go? Like what's your take on something like that?
I do think most people feel like they need to moderate any type of back and forth negativity or going at each other, because you are the author of the content that is causing this chaos, and you feel a level of responsibility. But at the same time, like, these are probably adults, and should we even care? It's very hard. It's very hard. What do you think?
Yeah,
what do you feel?
I used to feel, and I still do, because it's my playground, I feel like I do have some responsibility in being a referee.
Mm-hmm.
But when things just kind of, again, when it just becomes a big number thing for me, I shut down, and I don't even monitor it anymore. And I'm like, you know what? Best of luck for the people that have good intent, but I'm not saying that's the way to go, but I bail. This is one to where I did a fun thing on jarts, on how to fix your jarts. If you so happen to have like these old fashioned jarts that were very popular, like in the 50s. And then at some point, I don't know, in the 80s or something, somebody I think died, or some girl got it in the eye, and then it's like banned everywhere. You can't buy the metal ones that are like really good. You can only get like the really cheap, like Nerf ones or something. But I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I had a bunch of the old ones that I was going to fix up, and you can use some of the new flights, which are the wings that are out nowadays, to replace on the old style things, to make them almost kind of brand new, so where they work really well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that video. It did. I mean, it got a lot of traction. It's actually gotten traction multiple times, to where it does really well. It kind of rides off in the sunset, and then it just kind of comes back 6 months later. And it might be because of like the the weather or something. I think maybe in the spring or summer, people get outside and, old fashioned people like me or something are like, oh, where's the jarts at? This one here is where the arguments just kind of take off on their own. And I'm just like, and they start to incorporate things that have nothing to do with your video.
Yeah, like I was trying to read some of them. Like, are they talking about Afghanistan and Vietnam at one point?
Yeah. So when you post a jart video and then the comments are people arguing about Afghanistan, Vietnam, the Second Amendment, I'm bailing.
Yeah.
I'm bailing. I'm not getting involved.
Yeah. Well, those people seem crazy, and I don't think you can, argue with crazy.
Yeah, you can't really.
No. So let me ask you this: like, you are happy with the block button? Like, you're block happy?
Yeah.
When you get those crazy people arguing, do you block them immediately?
I have before. I went block happy on so many on all the different platforms that I can. But then the problem that comes up when I do that is I can't coordinate. So like, even let's say specifically for Instagram, if I block somebody on, let's say, my garden account,
yeah,
I have to then have a rule that, okay, well, I need to go over to the tossing salad and make sure I block them there as well, or vice versa, or whatever.
That's too difficult.
It's too difficult.
Yeah. So have you stopped blocking people because of the difficulty?
I just went through a blocking phase a couple weeks ago, but for a different reason, because I think somebody was reporting my videos on Instagram. And so I just narrowed it down to a set of accounts that I think could be doing it. And I went through and I blocked probably another 150 accounts and got rid of a lot of, and there might be some, what is it called when you block them, but you shouldn't have?
Collateral damage?
Well, I guess that could be collateral damage also. I haven't had one video issue since.
Okay, but to be fair, it was probably one person causing you all those problems. And like, think about the collateral damage. Think about all those people that are being deprived of your wit and your humor and your beautiful face. And they had nothing to do with it.
Do you block? Are you block happy too, or no?
No, I have probably blocked 5 people ever.
Really?
I kind of feel like, is this so stupid? But I feel like it might give them a perverse satisfaction if I care enough to block them.
I know. That's the argument I've seen people have when we're talking about, okay, well, how do you guys deal with negative people that comment and trolls, and everybody's like, just get out and block, block. And some people are like, well, that's what you're giving them, you're acknowledging that they got you. And I used to think that way also, but then I'm like, I don't know. I can't.
So
I just assume block them.
You could block someone. It's so easy to go create another Instagram account, and then, because we're public accounts, and then follow us from that one. So I don't necessarily believe the blocking is truly doing anything unless the person's lazy and they don't care enough to like follow you, whatever.
Right.
Also, I think that it's usually a one-time infraction, and that if I block them, like maybe they were just having a bad day. I don't know. I overthink it, and then I'm like, maybe I just shouldn't. And then I get worried. Okay, then I get worried because people will figure out if you blocked them, and I'm worried about retaliation.
Yeah, and that could be something that I've invited also. And yes, people, there are. Do we want to get into this?
Yes, of course. We always want to get into anything controversial. Always.
I know, but I also want to make sure that I don't just start dropping names of people or saying things that certain people have told me in confidence.
Oh, okay. That I respect.
But there are there are people that we both know that have had issues with other people that we know that have blocked. And I know I have been on the end of where the person that was blocked knows that I'm friends with a lot of people and like, hey, what's going on? I can't see so-and-so's account anymore. Has that happened to you where somebody's come to you and asked you and you're like, do you play dumb and be like, well, I don't know. I don't know why.
Because usually, I don't know if it's okay for me to say this or not. But the 2 times that someone's come to me and asked me about being blocked, it's you having blocked them. And I said, for one of them, I said, anyone having to do it with anything Homestead Bundle was an automatic block for Brian. So that is your explanation. And then for the other person, I said, he got kind of block happy during that Homestead Bundle. I don't know. Maybe you were collateral damage. I don't know what to tell you.
And if it was a block that shouldn't have, I apologize. You
don't need to apologize. They're definitely not watching.
Well, I know, but I'm saying I don't want to cause people unnecessary heartache or grief. Not like not seeing my stuff affects anybody, but the fact that they reached out.
Yeah, they cared. They cared.
They cared enough to try to find out. And I don't know off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure that I have been blocked and maybe it has registered like, wow, I think I've been blocked. But every time that has kind of happened, I'm always like, I think it might be because of me. Well,
do you remember when I got blocked by a company that we both used to really like?
I can think of a couple examples.
Well, I reached out to you. I actually reached out to you and was like, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think I did?
But you got that resolved, and then we had some other issues after that, though.
Yeah, I got it resolved, and then decided I didn't love my interactions with the person that kept interacting with me from that company.
Right.
And I just choose to not engage. I'm not actively not promoting. I'm not actively promoting. I'm just kind of hanging out in neutral land. I just don't care enough to care.
And I think it's a little bit of comfort for me knowing that you and I kind of have the same issue with certain accounts, to where same issue in the sense that you have your own issue with them. I have my own issue with them. It's not like, oh, well, because Amanda's blocking, I'm just going to go do that.
No, we both had experiences that caused us to be disenchanted.
And so I feel like, okay, it's not just me, and I value what Amanda thinks as well, because I think you're a pretty level-headed person. And if you're having some issues with whether it's a company or another person or something like that, I feel a little bit better, you know?
I need to catch us up on a couple of the Instagram comments. So Emma from Sunny's Place is saying she must have missed the Homestead Bundle Block Fest. And I don't know if she means she was part of it and didn't get blocked, or she just missed that whole controversy. And then Julie from Wannabe Ontario Farm Girl said that it happened to her. A big account blocked her, and she ended up messaging them from a friend's account, and they unblocked her, but wouldn't tell her why she was blocked in the first place. Interesting. So when I messaged this company to be like, what the actual, why would you block me? What have I possibly done? It was because at one point I reached out to them via Instagram direct message saying, I really like your stuff. I would love to talk about working together. And they blocked me for that.
I remember.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Interesting business move.
I remember sending a message in response to that also while you were going through that, to talk to the same, I think, contact.
Yeah, I don't like that contact.
But I in the end, I'm like, it's good that we've all kind of moved on, and but yeah, it is kind of awkward when people find out and I've been on both sides of it as well. So it's not, I mean, it's not fun knowing you've been blocked if you really can't think of why.
Yeah.
You know, I can see it bothering me if I'm like, I'm blocked from somebody. I'm like, why am I blocked? It would bother me. I'll admit that, especially somebody that I kind of liked, that I thought we were getting along. And then I would stress about, okay, well, how do I remedy this if this is a mistake?
Do you think you feel the same way about an unfollow? Like, what if you have like, you've known the person for several years via the Instagram and you've like messaged back and forth. And then all of a sudden one day you realize, wait, because you go to their profile and it says follow back. And you're like, wait,
Right.
They don't follow me anymore? What happened?
That's a good question.
That's happened to me.
And what did you do?
I unfollowed them. I'm like, if you don't want to be friends, we don't have to be friends.
But could you think of any potential reason, or?
Well, yes, there's a million reasons why someone would not want to follow me. I'm annoying.
But have you ever, somebody that you're kind of friends with or you've engaged and talked to that has blocked you, can you at least kind of pinpoint, be like, I mean, I kind of see, but whatever.
No, I can't pinpoint it, but there's like several things I've been involved with that are controversial. Obviously, my dislike for the Homestead bundle. I'm sure I had a lot of people unfollow me for that, but the people I'm talking about, they don't have Homestead in the name of their IG handle. So I didn't know that they were like super entrenched in that community.
Can I, just for your benefit and mine a little bit, it's not a Homestead issue that we have. It's the Homestead specific to that bundle of people that got together to do that bundle. You and I have had this conversation before, to where I think I am on this battle with homesteaders, or they think they are with me, and it's not the case. It has nothing to do with homesteaders.
I like homesteaders.
Specific to,
I like homesteading.
The bundle people.
Yeah, and to me, it was even more like, I didn't even really care about the people who contributed content to it. I had an issue with the company behind it, and then this one shirtless dude that was like super aggressively trying to get people involved with it. It just felt really icky.
Trying to get you involved in it.
Yeah. I had a firsthand experience with it. So like, I love homesteaders. I love homesteading. If I did not live in a neighborhood, I would have all the animals. Like, I already do things like grind my own flour and bake my own bread and am zero food waste and like try and repurpose. Like, I think it's so cool to be as self-sufficient as you can. There's nothing cooler to me. But I didn't love the weird marketing and like pyramid scheme behind that whole endeavor.
Yeah, it's not a homestead issue. I've got a lot of friends that are homesteaders. Emma is one of them that I mean, she's a homesteader here in Missouri.
A homesteader. Kate considers herself a homesteader. That like, I wish it had a different name, because now it lumps all homes
Yeah, so that was a I just wanted to clarify, because every time we get roped into talking about that, I always feel like I have to,
more trouble, right?
I always feel like I need to, because the two times that I've lost a lot of followers has been with you, and it has nothing to do with you specifically. It's because somehow we get into the Homestead bundle thing.
I do think we bring out a little too much honesty in each other, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going out being like mean.
No.
Right?
No, we're not.
So,
I don't think we're saying anything that's not true. Like, I was speaking from my firsthand experience of being targeted to be part of it by Shirtless Dude.
Right.
I really wish Shirtless Dude had reached out to you.
So I almost, okay, so what would we have done if you had decided to do it?
Well, Brian, I would not have, because the way you reached out was so gross. Also, I have nothing to contribute.
How about if we were playing Who Would You Do, and it would be between the shirtless dude from what we're talking about right now, or the contact from the company that neither of us like?
Shirtless dude, and I would just like put duct tape on his mouth. All right, hold on. I want to bring up one thing.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about like unfollows and blocks. Do you ever go into your stories, whether it's your garden account or your podcast account on Instagram, and look at who's looking at your stories and look at how many non-followers are watching your stories every day? Because I have a core contingency of between 4 and 7 people that watch every single story I put out there, but don't follow me.
Really?
So I'm not coming up in any of their things. They're having to search my name in the search box and then go look at my stories for the day, but refuse to follow me.
That's interesting. I'm trying to think of, I don't know if anybody out there that's watching this right now, if you can think of a reason or how that would happen to where if they're not following Amanda, but somehow are watching all her stories, they must not be following a lot of people.
Well, so I understand it because there are, I don't know, between 2 and 5 accounts that I refuse to follow for like belief systems. But because they put out controversial stuff and have actually like alluded to me on their stuff before, I go look at their stories like once a month and like check things out. So I understand it.
Oh, this is like the Cold War or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I rarely, I mean, probably in the last couple years, I don't even pay attention on my stories. Like, you know how I guess at the bottom you can see like all the people that have you click on it, or at least the last time I looked, you can click on it and you can see the people that have looked at it, right?
Yep. And it also show you how many followers have looked at it and how many non-followers have looked at it.
Okay, that I didn't think I was that aware of that.
Yeah, I became aware of it because there were a couple other accounts that posted in their stories. They're like, hey, all of you like stalking my stories that don't follow me, I see you. And I was like, huh? And then so I went in and looked. I'm like, oh, And like, unfortunately, it won't tell you which accounts are the ones that don't follow you that stalk your stories. They won't tell you.
Well, to go back to something, you asked something a few minutes ago about how it feels to be unfollowed, not necessarily blocked, but unfollowed. I have had quite a bit of that. And especially with the podcast having taken over my old garden account, because I had switched my garden account to start over brand new. I don't know how many years ago, the Garden Voyeur, to start a brand new account to see if I can just build that up again. Mm-hmm. And so I had parked the old initial Garden Voyeur account that I have had since 2013, 2014, something like that. And it was just sitting there. And so I was like, starting up the whole podcast thing, I'm going to go ahead and just do a name switch on it. And in that case, I noticed there was a lot of people that were friends or at least garden acquaintances of mine that we talk on a regular basis within gardening that had unfollowed it. And I totally understand and get, and I don't hold it against anybody on that because I know at least how I curate my Garden Voyeur account. I want to make sure that that's as much garden content as possible. And what I'm doing here with the podcast is not garden related. So that could kind of screw up their algorithm of what they see. So I totally get that. And some of them have unfollowed. I know there's probably been a handful of people that have made comments like, hey, don't take this the wrong way. I'm going to unfollow here, but I'm following you on the Garden Voyeur, on the new Garden Voyeur account that you have. And I said, it's fine. I was like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. So does it bother me with the unfollows? In my particular case, it doesn't, because I understand that it's not necessarily what they were following me for initially.
Yeah.
But if it was a friend that unfollowed or somebody that I talked to on a regular basis, I didn't know why really, but I don't think that would bother me.
Don't you think, though, that there's a certain amount of people that followed you on the Garden Voyeur that you became close enough with that you would expect them to still follow you on the Tossing Salad podcast to support your new endeavor because you had a relationship with them?
You might have been the one to ask me that on another live a long time ago or something. And I may have gone through a period where I'm like, there's going to be a handful of people that are going to support what I'm trying to do here, no matter what. I mean, you're one of them, Julie, and I don't want to name the people that done it because I'm not going to be able to name everybody that has done it. It's nice, and I do appreciate that. I mean, I think I do realize the garden friends that I've had that I've built up, the ones that are interacting quite a bit on Tossing Salad, whether it's here or on TikTok or YouTube or even on Threads. I do appreciate that, but I don't hold it against any of the other people because I have not had this. I mean, a lot of the relationships I used to have where I talk to people daily. I'm sure you talk to a core group daily. I don't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Or does it make you sad?
I mean, if you make me focus in on it right now and I do another sake shot,
do it.
You might be able to make me sad about it. But it's just I've moved kind of on from the garden stuff. And if that's kind of the world we were kind of interacting in and having fun and making fun of things and bitching about, seed starting and compost not heating up and everything, and I'm doing something else. I mean, I get it. Things kind of have changed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for you and I think it's kind of enhanced what we've had because now we have a different kind of, I look at it as a different avenue to where, our relationship has been kind of comparing not only garden stuff, but like more of how social media kind of works, the nuts and bolts of it, and then some of the bigger stories on it, and then just being in general more of a global kind of a friend. And we're able to do some different things that I think that doesn't necessarily fit with the Ever Hopeful Gardener brand that you kind of have, but we can kind of do it here and have fun.
Yeah, totally. Like speaking of like the whole Tossing Salad podcast, and like I obviously follow you over there and like listen to every episode that comes out, and wanted to tell you that like the Skiptown All-Stars that I was introduced to via your podcast, I love them so much that I go back and forth with them totally separately from you. I'm making fun of James for how he eats peaches. I'm making fun of James for how he shovels snow. I'm making fun of James for not having gloves in the winter. Like I'm going back and forth with Denise about like redhead stuff. Like I have so thoroughly enjoyed your non-gardening podcast content, and that anyone who didn't like stick around to see what that was going to end up being like, well, they've definitely missed out.
It's the same type of people that I'm meeting on the podcast side of things, and it's other creators that are doing podcasts or shows or whatever. They're the same kind of people that we kind of joked around with in gardening. They're just not into gardening. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They have the same kind of sense of humor. I just knew from when I first started to meet James and Denise, and I think you were kind of commenting. I think we did. I forget at what point this was. I was like, you guys would totally get along.
Yeah, they're so cool.
So this is a perfect segue, Amanda.
Okay.
Because not everything in the comment section is negative. I know that the first 40 minutes of this were like, oh, comment section sucks for everything, and that's not the case. There's sometimes there's good stuff, and then sometimes there's gray area stuff, which that's why I'm also going to ask you a few things. But let's talk about one of the things that you had just brought up, the Skiptown All-Stars. And let me get this up here so that everybody can kind of see.
Did you get your food? Sorry, I'm making sure my son got his
multitasking.
pizza.
I get it.
I ordered my son pizza. Okay, hold on. Okay.
So Amanda was talking about the Skiptown All-Stars, and they're a empty nesters. They right around that 50-year-old age mark where I am as well. They've gotten rid of all their kids. They packed everything up, sold off a whole bunch of stuff, and they're traveling around the United States looking for a new place to kind of reside and everything. They left a message, Denise did, a couple weeks ago on the live that Amanda and I had done. I forget which one. Oh, it was the Camus one where we had the Camus thing. She goes, I know Amanda must get this all the time. She looks like Jessica Chastain. And so my question to you,
sorry, but I think Denise had been drinking that night.
so a couple questions. Do you know who Jessica Chastain is?
Yes.
The second question is, how do you feel when people, you know what they're going to say? You don't know who they're going to compare you to, but they're like, you know who you remind me of? And then for me, when people do that, it's a negative thing because it's never good. They don't mean it to be mean, but for me, it's always something negative. But for you, that's Jessica. I looked up Jessica Chastain.
Because you didn't know who she was?
I knew the name, but
Jesus.
Here, let's let me pull this up so that we're all looking at Jessica Chastain, because I'm curious if you like this comparison.
Make sure you get a good picture of her.
All right, so there's one that I just found.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's amazing. Thank you.
Do you mind when people are like, "Oh, you remind me of," or "You look like"? Does it end well for you?
Yes, because I think people, they see the red hair and they equate it with, so I've gotten Julia Roberts, Julianne Moore, and Jessica Chastain. I've never gotten Angie Everhart, but that's okay. I don't have big enough boobs for that.
Angie Everhart. I'm trying to remember who that is.
Oh my God, come on, Angie Everhart. She was like the only redhead supermodel.
Oh, I'm like in the 90s.
She would play golf with Bruce Jenner.
I'm sure I know if I saw a picture of her.
Well, like, just can you Google a picture and put her up? But I take it as the utmost compliment ever when people say that I look like any of those people. I mean, of course, like they're amazing. I don't look like them, but I do have red hair, so I get it.
I mean, I'd like that comparison for you. That's a good one. And yes, I do think you guys do look alike.
Wow. Thank you. She's much younger, and I will take that any day of the week, and I will just graciously say thank you.
Emma said, I think this is on Instagram. I've got all these windows on my screen open. This might be a while ago.
What's going right now?
She was in The Help.
Was she? She was in the poker movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
The true story about that woman that ran the illegal poker games and then got like caught.
No.
What is the name? I can't remember. She was also in like Zero Dark 30.
That I love that movie.
Yeah.
So that's how I want to think of you also, because she was badass in that, right?
Yeah, I want to be considered a badass. I'm desperately trying to find who you look like, and like, because I want to see if it what you think, like if you think it's a compliment.
Okay, hold off for just a couple minutes because we're going to get into that also.
Okay.
So here's another one from that same live that we did. This is from somebody completely unknown, and this was on YouTube.
Is this when we played Who Would You Do?
This might have been one of the Who Would You Do. We've done two of those, so I'm not sure which one exactly. And Serenity Seeker.
Oh, I like that name.
Was like, she's just so cute. Aww. And then smile, and then the happy face or whatever emoji that is. And usually I'm very defensive of when I have guests on or somebody's on my channel about the comment section going after them for whatever reason. I've had to delete some things.
Well, you don't have to with me, because people could say I'm the ugliest troll they've ever seen. She shouldn't put her face on the internet. Like, I could care less.
Here's the comment. And so she liked you so much. I think you've got a really a fan. Hopefully she followed you over there. So she followed up with another one and said, "Oh my God, I've never seen this channel before, but the ginger is so adorable. She is a vibe."
Ginger.
And I had to reread that a couple times because I was like, I think that's a really good compliment. And then I was like, I need to ask Amanda the term ginger.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an issue with ginger? Is it derogatory? Is it accepted? I don't personally say it.
Why? Because you're worried?
Just if I have, I don't remember it. If I use it, I don't know. You tell me.
No, it doesn't bother me. Ginger doesn't bother me at all, but I will tell you that people typically use it as a preface when they're getting ready to say something derogatory about redheads. But it in of itself is not derogatory. But it is like, I guess, the most, I don't know how to say this. Like, okay, so there's this guy I follow. He's like called like Steve or Stephen Kraft Coaching. I follow him. I don't eat protein and lift weights, but I follow him because he is a redhead and he's got a good accent and a nice body, but he's so cheeky. Like he is, his wit is so acerbic and funny. But he said, if you don't like this, then just go ahead and drop a ginger comment in the thing. Like he was getting like inviting the derogatory comments, and he used the word ginger because I think people will say ginger and then follow it up with something that's derogatory. But ginger of itself is not derogatory.
So what I want to make sure of, and some of you might understand why I'm dancing around this a little bit. Is this kind of like the scenario to where, let's say with the NFL teams, any sports teams that use, let's say, Native Americans as their mascot, and you find there somebody will end up on TV and they're like, it's not offensive to me. So therefore, you found one person that it's not offensive to. Does that make it okay or not? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure that just because you don't find it offensive, or the other person that's redhead on social media doesn't find it offensive, could it be or not? That's why I'm like, I'm gonna ask Amanda.
Okay, so I guess it could be, but it will never reach the level of any type of other derogatory physical comment in terms of like skin or race or religion or anything. Like, it is the most harmless of descriptor comments. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if someone does take offense to it, I think they're probably overly sensitive. I just don't think ginger. Okay, so like there's redheaded stepchild. That's more offensive than ginger. It's also offensive to stepchildren.
That is.
And then, there's a lot, like, I can't think of a ton of like derogatory names for redheads, but they always love to do things like, does the carpet match the drapes? Or like the worst
for
thing.
Redheads, they do?
What?
I thought that was more for women that dyed their hair.
No, oh my God.
Like blondes, like brunettes that have blonde hair. That's where that terminology came from. That's from redheads?
I'm not saying it's from redheads, but I'm saying every redhead in their life has been asked that question. For sure.
Oh.
And then, of course, the worst thing I was called growing up was fire crotch. I was called that a lot, and that was annoying. Carrot top, who cares? But like when you're little, like whatever. I would say redheaded stepchild, like just using that in vernacular, I find that offensive. Like every redhead is super annoying and awful. I don't know.
Am I the only one? I mean, I would only probably just ask you. It's right. It's pretty straightforward. That's when you're the one that brought this up. Go
ahead. I don't care. Go ahead.
The curtains match the drapes. It's
they
pretty
do,
straightforward. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, it doesn't make sense to refer that to redheads. Like I wouldn't think otherwise, right?
I haven't seen any others besides my own. So maybe they don't own. Does anybody know of an example to where it doesn't for redheads? That's why it threw me when you said that phrase for redheads. Well, okay, so there's different redheads. You've got blue-eyed redheads, and then you've got brown-eyed redheads. So the blue-eyed redheads have pale skin, blue eyes, and the brown-eyed redheads, they are the ones who can get tan, like, which is just a freak of nature, like that shouldn't exist. Maybe the brown-eyed redheads. Maybe they don't match. I don't know.
Oh my God. You just blew my mind that there's two kinds.
Right.
And I'm colorblind.
Oh my God. Do you not, you probably don't even know what my hair looks like.
I mean, I know you're a redhead.
But like a redhead to you could look like a green-haired person to someone else, I guess.
Well, I'm red-green colorblind.
Okay, so purple. I don't know. Pick a color.
But I mean, I guess sometimes I would sometimes refer to you as blonde or like a sandy brown or something too.
Really? Oh my God, you don't know what I look like at all. Like
No,
you
but
literally don't know what I look like.
I do, but I'm saying because I am red-green colorblind,
Yeah.
I can tell, but I can't. There's just certain things where I'm like, if you just showed me a close-up of your hair, I wouldn't be able to say that's red. I could be, okay, that's like a blonde, or it could be like a brown.
Okay. All right.
But it's because of my own deficiency of not being able to see color.
It's just so interesting to me and weird. And what another thing I want to point out is like whenever a movie or a TV show wants to portray a super bad behaving or annoying character, they make the character a redhead. So think like Chucky. Think like oh my God, what was that kid that or looks like super like dumb? They pick a redhead.
The royal family. Isn't Harry the redhead? And like everybody's going after him.
Yeah, well,
he's not what's the older kid?
Yeah, he made his own bed with that horrible Halloween costume. Yeah.
What's his William. I just got done watching The Crown, so I'm kind of into that stuff right now. I'm not into it, but I did like the series. I was forced to watch the series.
Okay. Yeah, I watched 3 episodes and I was out. I was like,
no. Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't love period anything except like Braveheart.
I'm not a Royals person, and I don't get me started on like the whole monarchy type thing. But I was like, my wife was like, Amy was like, I really want to watch this. This could be like our nighttime. I was like, But then I heard we started it late, and it started winning some awards. I was like, well, at least it's probably a good series. So then when we started to watch it, I totally got into it.
We're getting way off track, but
I know.
If you guys need a show and you feel like subscribing to Paramount Plus for like 1 month, you could binge Jeremy Renner in Mayor of Kingstown and be all in. It is so good.
Is he a redhead?
No,
oh.
It has nothing to do with redheads. I'm just talking about a good show.
Well,
I didn't like The Crown.
I'm stuck on the whole redheads and the curtains and the drapes and stuff. So I'm determined now to go ask Amy when she gets home tonight. I was like, do you know any redheads where that doesn't match?
Well, Brian, she probably hasn't seen a lot of carpets.
Well, I don't know what she's seen. I don't know what friends that she has. Maybe they've had the conversation. I'm going to find out because I find that.
I don't see my friends' carpets, only their drapes.
Really?
Brian,
now,
what are you doing all day?
We'll talk about that on another one.
What are you doing all day?
So we found out that when Amanda in the comments section, at least over on my channel when she comes on, people love her. And they relate her to Jessica Chastain, this beautiful woman who found Osama bin Laden and all these other things that she's done. And these are the 2 things I'm going to show you here next are what people tell me over the last 20 years who I look like. It always comes to 2 people. And we've talked about this before.
Let's go. Because if you don't have the good one, I've got the good one already pulled up and ready to go.
So
okay.
Scott Peterson, which is interesting because now he's back in the news because I guess they're trying to the Innocent Project or whatever.
Innocence Project.
The Innocence Project. They're working to get him cleared or to get him a new trial, which is crazy.
You don't look like him at all. He doesn't look like you at all. No.
This goes back to when it all happened, and my sister-in-law looks like Lacey, and I look like him of all the people that I could look like. So that's one that I get. And then the other one, let me do this here real quick. Oh, shoot. I almost ended our live.
Don't do that. It's a good one.
I know. There's just so many buttons when you're hosting and then you're trying to. Oh, this is just.
Well, is it the same one that I have pulled up, you think?
It could be. And then, well, there's a third one that you and I will talk about that people within gardening have told me that I remind them of. And I'm just like, stop it. Here's the other one.
Oh my God.
So
Who the heck is that?
That's the Iceman Killer.
Oh my God.
So that's the other one that I get. Several people have made comments about.
Are you friends with these people?
It's people I've either worked with or people that we know socially.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you know who I'm talking about within gardening?
I hope I do.
You didn't.
You have the picture ready?
Do you have the picture ready? I didn't because I'm not crazy about this guy.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh. Amanda's trying to post something up here. We're going to find out. Oh, this Posty. So this is the last time we had talked about this. You had brought that up. Post Malone.
I mean, especially since that was the time we were doing was that a TikTok live where we were writing on our faces?
Oh, that was. We were like, we give in. We're done trying to be creative. We're just going to do what everybody else does. We're just going to do silly, stupid stuff on a live.
Well, we were doing a TikTok battle, who could win.
That's right.
Yeah, people had to vote, and we were doing anything we could. I think I was putting my foot up to the camera for people with a foot fetish, and you were writing on your face. And I'm like, oh, well, now it is. This is who you look like. And I think I think he's cute.
I see it kind of. I mean, that's the best one of the three.
I mean, it's the haircut and the beard more than anything.
Yeah.
And the eyes a little bit.
I mean, I would love to have that one only as opposed to Scott Peterson or the Iceman Killer. And then there's, who we're talking about.
Emma said, sorry, no, those people, meaning the Iceman Killer and Scott Peterson, are too white.
I don't know. I've kind of given up in my life on who I look like. I've had several people within gardening say I look like the epic guy, and vice versa. That are we related or something? And I don't talk to these people anymore. I don't bring it up because he has his own little fandom of people that will defend him. So
hey, guess what? Greg is watching on Instagram. Can I just tell
Greg,
you?
what's up? The G-Man.
I love y'all's dynamic. I love you guys together. I'm so excited to see what you guys end up doing.
Yeah, he's working on a few things right now that for the next live that we're doing.
He's already made your intro so much better.
And he's going to help me kind of finesse that a little bit too. So I'm excited to get a nice little intro and an outro.
You got to get rid of the moaning. It's not professional. It sounds terrible.
I like your moaning on there.
But let Greg help you.
I like the moaning of yours in there because it's a little bit of something from Amanda that I'm like, she's been a part of my content, my stuff for so long. And I was like, would you mind if I stole that from one of your videos? She's like, go ahead. What are you using it for? And I was like, yeah, don't worry about that.
And I'm like, I don't care.
Don't worry about that.
And Emma says, you do not look like epic guy. I couldn't agree more. Not at all. Greg says he can moan.
I know Greg can moan.
That would be really funny if you did Greg's moaning and did that for one intro with the overlay of Tossing Salad Podcast with Brad.
When you talk about knowing people's drapes and curtains and stuff, that's somebody that I say, if he was redhead, I would know.
Well, that seems like a story for another time.
That's a whole nother channel.
Yeah. That's OnlyFans.
So I think, so in a roundabout way, we're at the end of the live that
I've got a couple questions I want to ask though.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I want to ask you.
It's not all negative. There are some positive things out there within the comment section, but I think everybody's always like, oh, I just want to go viral. I want my videos to do well. I want this and that. And I'm like, man, it's not. with virality and having your video get some traction, the comment section, oh, it's just so bad.
All right, let me ask you this. Of the 3 platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, have you noticed that there is more negativity on one over another?
Ooh, that's a good question, and I'm trying to I don't know if I have an answer for you on that.
I have an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Instagram is the most negative by far. It's like the people on TikTok don't care enough to write anything. I mean, they'll write some stuff negative, but it's like they don't care enough. It's like the people on Instagram, it's like they're looking for a fight. It's like they've got a lot of time on their hands and they just want to engage. And then on YouTube, it's almost all positive or constructive in its nature.
I can't argue with that. I just had a video on YouTube that for me got a lot of comments on relative to what I normally put out. And of all things, it was Chris Brown versus Usher. And you would think, oh, you're opening yourself up to a bunch of negativity. And oddly enough, it was like 99.9% positive comments and mostly like fans of Chris Brown. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, I just know that I'm going to get some kind of negative comments. I'm opening myself up. And it was actually pretty good stuff.
I feel like if R. Kelly had been one of them in there, you would have gotten a lot more negative.
Wait, that's another show that you and I have talked about doing. And it's just a matter of how do we put that together?
Okay. Now here's my other question for you. Oh, I've got a couple more. All right. But you still have the Garden Voyeur account and you have the Tossing Salad podcast account. Have you noticed more negativity on one over another? I'm guessing the garden has more negativity than the podcast.
Well, this goes in line with what you had brought up earlier. So this will be put back on you to give me your input on it. Also, I don't know the answer to that either, although I will say overwhelmingly on Instagram,
yeah,
I get more unsolicited advice of what I need to be doing that I just take as negative. And I think if I really just kind of settled down and I wasn't so touchy about it, or I didn't get as much as I did when I was on the gardening side of things on Instagram. But you have to get so much more than I do, right? Or are people kind of afraid because you're the big shot ever hopeful gardener, and they don't dare give you unsolicited advice?
Well, I will say on a video that goes viral, people that don't follow you, it's touching them, and they don't take the time to look at your profile, to look at your content. They haven't been following you, so they have no frame of reference. So they are very quick to offer advice or tell you what to do. And you want to be like, have you even looked at my profile at all? Like, I do compost. I have like a million things on compost. So don't tell me to start composting. Like, so I think it depends on the video and who's seeing it, whether or not they want to give you advice. And that leads me to a question that I put in a question bubble on the stories. What is worse? A negative troll comment or people telling you you're doing it wrong and how you should be doing it?
Well, technically, in the question that you asked on your story, you said unsolicited advice.
Okay.
So that's what the intent of they think that they're helping you, as opposed to somebody saying you're doing something wrong and you need to do it this way or that way, right?
Well, isn't it implied you're doing it wrong if they're telling you how you should do it?
I think when it catches you in the right moment, on the right day, when you're having a hard day or a hard hour or a hard 30 minutes, the troll comments can really just hit the nerve. As much as you can keep telling yourself it means nothing, they don't know who you are, that's all they're doing. They're just going around, and that's all that. Yeah, I get it. I get it. When it hits you, I think that is worse than the unsolicited comments or the unsolicited help or telling you need to do it a different way. What about you?
It's hard. I think with gardening specifically, the unsolicited advice can sometimes be more annoying or worse in my mind, because there's no one way to garden. There's no one right way to do anything when it comes to gardening. And no one has my exact set of circumstances with pests and climate and soil. Like, not even my next door neighbor has the exact same set of circumstances. And for you to think that you need to tell me the way to do it is so presumptuous and like egotistic. Like, it's so infuriating. I just want to be like, no one in gardening should be telling anyone else how to do it. You should just be sharing what you do and hope it helps someone else.
I don't disagree. There's so many. I try to read intent of people that either posting the video to where are they posting something and they're just showing what they're doing, and they're not really like, I'm composting, shoot, I'm just having a hard time getting it, to heat up or something. So are they kind of a little bit asking for advice or something? I always I'm just to the point now to where I like, unless it's a really good friend, and even then I almost won't give advice.
Yeah, they have to ask the question in their whatever for me to bother to comment with what I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have to like set up a reel that's like, this is happening, help, what should I do? And then I might comment what I think might help them. But otherwise, I will never comment like, try this, do this. Like, nope.
It's hard to, I try to give people that I know that do it to me the benefit of the doubt that they're probably just trying to help me, even though I get annoyed sometimes. And there are times to where the unsolicited advice gets me kind of thinking. I'm like, that was actually pretty good advice or something.
Okay, that's true. Like, we should look at it as coming from a place of helping. And that makes it a little bit better.
Yes. This is hard for us to say one way or the other or black and white, because a lot of it has to do with the amount of times that it happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting just a few comments here and there, and all of a sudden you get something to where somebody's kind of helping you, oh, okay, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But when you're like, for you, I would imagine like you post videos, you're getting dozens and dozens of comments anyway. So every video, you're probably getting that unsolicited advice when you don't need it. And you just get tired of it.
Yeah. But like, what about the videos where, like, I mean, to you and me, it's so obvious that we're just trying to be funny and being tongue in cheek and right. Like just having fun. And the people are so serious. And they're like, I mean, I took some screen grabs of like the comments people sent me on one of my reels where it's like, I'm like, how do you not know that this was just supposed to be funny? Like, they're writing, life would be easier if y'all just listened to your husbands. I'm like, what is that even? Horrific form. Tie your hair up, please. My mom has a stronger one under her bed I can lend you. Like, what does that even mean? You just, oh, one person called me trash. One person called me a stupid, oh, listen to this. It's not the drill. You just act like a stupid bitch. So he called me a stupid bitch. Pathetic attempt. Like, like, how do they not know that it was a video that was supposed to be funny?
Right. Well, because they don't.
They don't.
But here's the tough thing. Here's the sad thing when you look at it. There's a lot of people that are out there, and I'm going to say it's a lot more than what we all probably think, that mentally are having a rough time with how they are accepted, or I don't know how to put this, but to where one negative comment like that, they completely kind of unravel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
so
for somebody like you who were like, oh, Amanda's tough. She gets all this stuff she gets enough of this all the time. It can't possibly bother her or whatever. I can't imagine it never bothering you.
Oh, of course. There are days, let's just say there are certain times of the month where I am more sensitive than other times of the month. And they hit me the wrong way. And a lot of times I won't think first. I don't think first before I do a lot of things. And I will fire back something that's equally inflammatory. Doesn't end well. But I worry about the people that don't know to expect this, and they put themselves out on social media. They don't have a thick skin, and this stuff would really send them over the edge. Like, I worry about that. Like, I have friends in the gardening community that have said, I actually hope my account doesn't get big because I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want that negativity coming into my life. And I've seen people on Instagram post that they have their mom or their sister read all their comments and answer them so that they don't ever see any of them because they can't handle it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that we've come across within gardening, and I include myself in that, to where we started gardening because of some other things, not because we wanted to grow a carrot or a tomato and just have that to eat for salsa. We're doing gardening for other reasons, to detach from the real world, or to work on some emotional issues, or to work on something. There's a lot of people, I would say very sad, emotionally people that are using gardening as a tool to work on themselves, and they're trying to share a little bit online on social media. And I'm just like, man, you're almost playing with fire, sharing like that, if you have that type of personality on social media, because all it takes is one comment.
And what's frustrating is like,
go ahead.
Like, so many people in the gardening community, like, they're such kind, giving, helpful souls, and you have no control over where social media decides to send your video. So social media, Instagram could send your sweet gardening video, not within the gardening community. They could decide, oh, this has got trending audio, and send it out to the masses. And the masses are not kind, sweet, helpful souls. And they will eat you up, and it's frustrating because I don't know.
And I'm picturing a handful of people that I know that I've seen them completely disappear because of social media. Not for something that I would consider, but it's big to all of us in different ways. So I can't say, well, it's not that big of a deal or anything. I shouldn't have thought that. But there's a few that I'm like, oh man, it's hard. And Emma brings up a good point here. Let's see here. Do you think it matters if it's a man or woman receiving the unsolicited advice? As a woman, the whole mansplaining thing is triggering.
Well, I can say it's a little bit harder of a pill to swallow when a man gives me advice versus a woman. And that maybe that's my own insecurity and hang up, but I don't like it when a man tells me something I should try different or do different versus a woman. I just take it different. What about you? Does it matter to you?
It matters to me on the side of, I am constantly questioning, am I mansplaining or am I just splaining? Because I just have to insert myself. in whatever it is in life, not necessarily just online. It could be here at home with Amy or out and about or whatever. And there's times I'll catch myself and I'll be like, you know what, fuck it. I'm not explaining nothing.
For fear of retribution.
for just like, I don't know. As much as I like to say that I don't necessarily care what other people say or do, and it doesn't affect me or whatever. I don't go around inserting myself. I just assume just be left alone. And so my thing is, you know what?
We all know that. We know you want to be left alone.
But there's a lot. See, this is going to come across as going against the girls here. But I think there's some girls that are using the mansplaining thing too much, and it does. Oh man.
Say it. Just say it. Come on. Just say it.
I think it does. It cheapens that's why not everything. You shouldn't be saying it's mansplaining on everything.
Agreed. It's overused. Agreed. It's overused. However, how about this comment? The fuck are you doing? Buy a goddamn trowel. See, this is the shit we get when women try and be innovative. I'm going to call that mansplaining.
Was that the video where you got the drill like into the ground and you're like falling over and stuff?
Winner, chicken dinner.
That was so funny because it's so obvious. That's just Amanda being Amanda and doing like a silly video. And there were so many comments.
I'm in slippers and full makeup. My hair is down. I'm obvious. Like, it's so fake. People lost their
so many men were just like, you're holding the drill wrong. You need to go get a Milwaukee instead of, and I'm just like, wow.
Okay. Well, they're obviously idiots, went totally over their head. I have two more questions for you. Okay. The first is having to do with Threads, which I joined and haven't been on since. So my question to you is, I think you are active on Threads. Is that correct?
I am active on Threads. Yes.
What is the negativity like on Threads?
The negativity, if we're going to categorize it that way on Threads, is people challenging with a different opinion, if that makes any sense. So I do a lot of stuff with Tossing Salad there on Threads, and I'm, into the music stuff and a lot of like the movies and everything. So I'll make a comment about a movie, an album. Example, Chris Brown, I made a comment about what Super Bowl weekend, and I made a comment about Chris Brown and Usher. And really on Threads, the only thing that was considered negative, and I don't consider it negative, but I do, it was somebody just challenging liking Chris Brown so much with what he is associated with. And I get it. I get it. But it's a different kind of challenging on Threads, in my opinion and my experience on it so far, than it is on Instagram, TikTok.
Like a healthier type of environment?
Like a more grown-up challenge to what I like or don't like or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it more of a like grown-up discourse? Like it's just more like, I don't know. Like I feel like Instagram is just like people are just like ready to spew whatever first comes out of their head. And it seems like on Threads, from the little I've been on there, there's just a little bit more thought put behind things before they're posted.
Yeah, just the whole idea behind Threads is different than Instagram and TikTok. Mm-hmm. And I know Emma's made a comment here about Threads, and she's on it. She's one that I have noticed is on there more than other people that I know of. It is. It's more of a thought. I'm having a hard time just describing it. There is a difference in Instagram, TikTok, and then you go to Threads, to where you're not having to craft these videos. You're not having to look really good, although there's a whole subset of that to where it's the girls that are posting the sad selfies, oh, I'm having such a bad day, and, looking like super pretty with the boobs hanging out or something, and then 80 guys are like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, you shouldn't be so sad or something. I'm just like,
Oh, your algorithm, man. So
that
would you
resonated
say,
with me, like 10 years ago, but now I'm just like, block.
would you say in general, from your experience, Threads is a little bit of a healthier place to be for people that are sensitive?
Ooh,
You don't
well,
want
I
to
don't
say
know.
that's fine.
I think anything to where you're on social media, no matter what it is,
Oh my God.
it's just different. I do feel like it's just easier for me to go on Threads and post something, or post like a quick picture of my lunch or of a video that I'm watching or a movie that I'm watching, as opposed to going to Instagram where I'm like, okay, it's a production of, I've got to do some work to put something out there. I go to TikTok, I got to do something to put it out there work wise.
Okay, hold on. All right, this leads into my final question to end the evening on. I know you're hosting. I hope you don't mind. I'm wrapping it
Yeah,
up.
no, I love it.
But so Greg just said, what site is this? Are you telling me Greg doesn't know what Threads is?
He may not. I don't think he's on there.
Is Greg okay? Like,
He may not know about it.
Okay. All right. Well, that leads me into my other question.
He's probably asking what site is it with the girls with the sad selfies. So that's what
Oh,
he's.
okay. All right.
Yes,
That's
Greg,
okay.
that is Threads, but that's also TikTok and Instagram.
It's everything. It's also,
everywhere.
It's also
The sad girls with the boobs. Yeah.
OnlyFans. Go there, Greg. Go to OnlyFans.
He's asking for the friend. Yeah. I'll send you some links to for research.
Is his wife's name Rachel?
Yeah.
Okay. Rachel won't want you on OnlyFans, but that's where you'll find the sad girls with the boobs. All right. So this leads into my final question, because I kind of am just really invested in the Greg and Brian show. Because you guys, are friends from college. So like, I feel like he's not a social media stranger. Will you guys ever get together IRL in real life for an episode?
It's possible, because for him to go back home to Kansas City, I think naturally he would come through St. Louis or something. So
and you wouldn't be weird about seeing him. Like I know you won't meet up with any of the Garden family, like you've said that. But would you?
I mean, I might be busy. I might be. Oh, dude, sometimes I'm a busy guy or something. Greg knows that I'm antisocial or whatever, but right now it's funny because he and I, we talked about this, like we can go years of never interacting at all, and then all of a sudden we're doing a live together and we understand, we get each other. It'd be the same with like Amanda, there's been times where we've gone weeks without interacting, maybe, right?
Maybe months. I don't know.
There might have been a time where we went months or something where, right when I kind of left gardening and was kind of trying to get the tossing salad stuff kind of going on or whatever. But you've been one of the handful that you spend a lot of time over on this end as well, kind of seeing what we're doing. And
I like it. It's interesting. I'm invested. And so I feel like because you know Greg in real life, you might make allowances for actually getting together with him you wouldn't make for the rest of us.
It's possible, but Greg and I have had some experiences together that have been, I think, an issue that I don't know if we want to get into again.
Sounds like your next podcast episode.
Yeah, but I don't even know that we would like that stuff to where he knows what I'm talking about.
Well, have you guys come up with a name yet?
He's working on that too.
Okay. I like how you're delegating. You're giving him tasks. You're putting him to work.
So I have pitched and you were involved in being pitched to before. Like I tried to get a show with you. There's been a couple other people that I've kind of talked to and they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And I'm always like, for me to know that you're really into it, you're going to come with me with all these ideas as opposed to me reaching out to you. Hey, have you thought about doing this? About doing this? Greg, it's like 12:30 at night. He's like, dude, and he's like texting me like, here's 20 clips and here's 20 ideas for this or that.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
So I think he's in a position to where he's like, he wants to do something kind of creative, and he's a creative guy, right? He's a hobby band guy. He's, got different bands that he's been with for the last, I don't know, 20 years or something. So I think, and he's also another one like you that's doesn't say no to a lot of things. So
well, then I automatically like him. Okay, so like, when was the last time you had someone on the Tossing Salad podcast?
Who was my last, like an actual podcast episode?
Was it Amanda from the Beatles episode?
It might have been Greg.
Okay, so is like Tossing Salad on hold while you and Greg create this new entity?
It could be. It'd be very similar when Chelsea and I were doing our live show, to where if Greg or Chelsea at the time, if we're ready to go and the iron's hot, I will be right there, and I can always put Tossing Salad to the side. But my thing with Tossing Salad is I've gotten to the point now to where before, the people that I would ask to come on the show, like you and some of the people from the garden community and stuff, all the ones I can count on that would actually do it and follow through with it, it's almost like 50-50. They'll say, oh yeah, we'll do it. And then it's excuses, cancellations. And I know a lot of other podcasters struggle with that, is like the people kind of bail. Because I think I don't think it's out of ill intention. I think it's like nerves of people like, oh my God, I'm going to be on a show. I'm on the spotlight. I'm going to be on video. And then they freak out. I do the same thing, even doing something like this with you. And I've gotten like way better with looking forward to doing like a live with Amanda. I know that sounds like, it sounds awful how I just said that, but I would still get nervous as the hour approached doing lives with Amanda, like a little anxious, a little nervous.
Because of the technology?
I could say that as an excuse or something, but just, I don't know. It's just nerves, overall nerves. But it's something that I have worked on over the last 15 years, 10 years, that social media and then doing the podcast, I am learning how to overcome some of my fears.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting used to being in front of the camera and not stuttering and stammering and losing my train of thought. I would always have that issue getting up in front of people or talking to people. And if I'm on the spot, my mind would go blank. So the idea of doing a podcast, doing a live show, nightmare for me. Even in doing it with you, doing it with Greg, doing it with some of the friends from gardening back in the last few years, stressed out so much. I was like hoping people would cancel on me so we wouldn't do it.
I mean, I have to ask, if you feel that way, like what made you decide to start a podcast? I mean, that is really like pushing yourself like feet to the fire.
But this is what we talked about with gardening, right? Not everybody's doing gardening to make a tomato to eat for salsa. I did gardening to work on certain personal things of mine. So podcasting was a challenge for me to do lives and all that stuff because I want to be creative. You and I are creative people. You and I do like stupid videos that nobody understands. We have a hostage serialized movie thing that we did. 10, 15 videos over the course of like 3 days or something, which everybody's like, what the fuck are these two doing?
Like, remember when you were like, okay, so we tried to tag on to the hose bib thing with like the closing the vents and the crawl space, and you're like, ah! Like, do you remember that one? It was so good.
But it was like we were doing stuff just for you and I to be creative and doing stuff.
Remotely funny, but you and I were, what is the dog doing? You and I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. But that's, for podcasting and going live and everything, this has all been something that I have overcome a huge fear of doing. I do love it once I get going, but it's the initial fear. It's like with my photography business, doing weddings.
You had to talk to people.
Oh my God. Well, on stuff like that, I can turn on a switch and I'm the most charming guy that you can absolutely deal with.
What?
But like coming up to like a wedding to shoot a wedding for a Saturday, I'm sick the night before. Friday nights, sick. The morning of, sick. But then I get the second, and then the times I've had a wedding where I've had a second shooter with me, that has helped me because I have to carry them right? So they're super nervous because they're a little bit less experienced than I am sometimes. And they're super nervous. So then when I'm in a position where I have to look out for my second shooter, that gives me a little strength to kind of, get going. Then the second I get that first click, then I'm in the mode. I'm in the zone.
Well, I'm impressed. I definitely don't get nervous or sick before we go on live.
You don't at all?
Maybe the alcohol helps.
Well, but you've taught classes before. Like I've seen you where you said that you've taught like composting or whatever. I'm like, I know I can't do that.
Well, I actually bet you could, but I bet you would hate every minute of it.
I would hate it, other than I've taught class. Like I thought I was going to be a teacher. Like I can get up in front of kids.
Oh, okay.
And I used to do like the boys and girls clubs in the summer for gardening. Mm-hmm. I can get up and teach, and I'm like, all the kids love me. I used to be a soccer coach. I used to be an awesome soccer coach, but it's among adults is where I have issues with. But the podcasting, doing the live has really helped me out. The gardening has helped me. Doing social media, being in front of the camera. I used to hate seeing myself, like most people probably are. They can't get in front of the camera.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first started my account, I never was in front of the camera, and I wouldn't even speak on stories. Like, even if I was just showing like the garden, I wouldn't put my voice. I was so self-conscious. So yeah, you're right. I get it. But like, if you put yourself out there on social media, you get over it relatively quickly.
You get over it. You learn, you face your fears. You see the comment section. You do build up calluses to a lot of the comments, but you're not 100% protected over all of them all the time. But you can just see, like with your stories and everything, I mean, your first story in the morning, you're walking through and you're just like, oh, I gotta go do this and this. And it's just like, you're not worried about
no makeup,
anything.
No makeup. There's like mascara under my eyes. Like, yeah, like I probably don't have a bra on. I'm trying to not show my boobs, but like, yeah, it's like, I don't care anymore. I'm sure my kids care, but
yeah, I'm kind of curious, like if your kids, like what they think about mom having such a big account or being like nothing, not good.
Not good.
They don't like it?
No.
So real quickly, I know we're like way off our initial topic. That's fine. I'll clip it out. We'll come up with something fun with this. Does your husband, do you think it bothers him a little bit?
Not even a little. He loves it.
Like what is your breakdown, guys to girls? Do you know it on each platform? Ballpark?
I don't do it on each platform. Instagram, I think it's like 80% women, 20% men.
That's similar to mine for Instagram.
Mm-hmm. I don't pay much attention to TikTok. TikTok is so freaking annoying. The creativity beta program has paid me like 4 cents. I hate it.
We should do another update on like the monetizing thing, because I have a ton of information to give to you.
I've been trying to figure it out and like print it out, and like I am ready to talk about it.
Do you know the most money I've made the last, I'm going to say 3 months, and that's just because I actually saw the reports. For the last 3 months have been from my garden t-shirt sales, which I do nothing for. Well,
that Compost Happens t-shirt I bought off your website is my favorite t-shirt.
It's a great shirt.
Flattering. Mainly because I bought it in a size too small, so my boobs look really good.
Well, there you go. See, but you also got it in the ladies cut, which is way more flattering.
Yes. You got to get it. If you're a lady, you got to get it in the ladies cut.
The ladies cut is the way to go on those t-shirts. But it's so fun. And I'm not making like a ton of money. We're talking like less than $10 a month, but it's so much more than what I'm making on any of the other platforms. And remember, last year, my whole thing was, look at the money I'm making on TikTok and Instagram. I'm going to buy a brand new computer, which is sitting right down here, and I'm going to pay for it. we had zero discretionary funds last year. You know how crazy it's been over here last year with costs and everything and medical stuff. But I was like, you know what? I don't have to rob from the family pot. All of this is going to get paid for with the TikTok bonus and the Instagram Reels bonus. I was doing great. It was like 150 on Instagram, 175 on TikTok. I was like, oh, the payments on the computer are like 166.67 a month. I was like, I can do it. And the month right after I made the purchase, zeroed.
I feel like the moment you made the comment about the beta creativity program that you're like, oh, I'm going to be able to buy a new computer. Then it was like, nope, you're not.
Yeah. Oh, I was screwed after that.
Okay, so Instagram has come out with something new. So Instagram got rid of the Reels bonus. That's gone. Okay. They have something called ads on Reels, pays so poopy. And they have something called ads in profile feed. Guess what my most recent check was from Instagram for ads in profile feed?
What's that?
Yes. Yes.
$10?
9 cents.
9 cents?
9 cents.
And I mean, your stuff outperforms mine 1,000-fold. And so that's just like, for me, I'm like, I don't know what happened.
I don't either. But like, I have to say, like, this is a whole other live, and I have to pee so bad, so we can't start talking about it.
Yeah. Well, what did Emma say about the women's cut? So is it just me that doesn't like women's cut tees?
Well, okay, if you have big boobs, women's cut tees don't work at all. I've got little boobs, and women's cut tees work great.
But I thought that's the whole point of the women's cut tees, is that it's bigger at the top and then it cuts in to give you more of a shape. No,
it's like tighter in the top and tight in the sides.
No, the women's t-shirt is
there's no extra room up here. I look voluptuous.
Okay, somebody else has to weigh in on here. The women's cut tees, that's the whole point. Like the guy's cut is straight up and down. The women's cut is shaped.
It just cuts in it cuts in everywhere. It's like it just cuts in.
Greg is saying he likes this better than Threads now because there's a lot more boob talk.
Wait, is there any boob talk on Threads? I think he's confusing OnlyFans. I don't think he knows his social media platforms.
Emma needs a little more room up top, she says.
Yeah, then she needs a men's because the women's does not have room up top.
But I still would get... okay.
Brian,
the women's cut tees, I think look great on women.
Yeah, because they're tight in the boobs.
Yeah. Well, so here's... I'm gonna end this because we're gonna keep going on and on talking about all kinds of stuff. But I do want to propose something to you, and I would only ask you because of our relationship, and I know who you are. Well, redact that. You're usually up for anything. No.
If you're worried about the way that sounded, I take no offense.
I just I respect you. Usually you're up for anything. You and I have had a lot of fun on these videos and all this stuff. Okay. So one of my videos that we did a few weeks ago was the Who Would You Do? And you did I think one of ours was I think I asked you, had you seen the Kim Kardashian video?
Oh, right. Because I asked you, who would you do, Kim or Kourtney?
Kim or Kourtney. And I picked Kim.
Yeah.
But anyways, and you had said you had never seen that video, but you knew it was Ray J in there. And I was like, well, how have you never seen the video, but you know who the guy was? Because Ray J, I don't think is that big of a star that you'd be like, oh, Ray J was in there.
I mean, I know it because I know that's how she got famous.
And then you knew the song. Then you started singing the song. I hit it, I hit it, I hit it. So the great thing about that was it made for a fantastic clip, and it was one of my more popular videos that I had on. That's like 2,100 views on YouTube just on that clip alone. And the day that I released that clip, which I'm thinking now maybe this has something to do with why it was so popular. Drake had one of his videos leaked out, and everybody's like, he leaked it out. But Drake, you know who Drake is, right?
I know who Drake is. I know who Drake is. Okay, can you carry this conversation in terms of setting this up?
You go do what you need to do and then come back. Just make sure that we can't hear anything. All right. So half the time that I'm doing something with Amanda, we go way over on time, and then she's got to go to the restroom. So that's where she's going. So here's what I'm going to ask you guys. I think you guys already know if you're listening to this. The video where we were talking about, had Amanda seen the Ray J Kim Kardashian video? She said she hadn't, was a popular video. So then I got to thinking, because the day that I released that video was when Drake had his video leaked. Julie already knows where this is going. Julie's got the emoji. Like, Julie, is that an emoji that's like the most used emoji? Like, you know how it has the 10 and it's just like ready to go as opposed to having to search for it? You know, when you use certain emojis more than others, they're like right there. I'm thinking of you, and you guys tell me if this is appropriate or not. If it's not appropriate, I won't ask Amanda. We'll just won't ask her when she comes back. I was thinking we get a live reaction of Amanda watching the Drake video. What do you guys think? Okay,
I'm nervous.
Amanda's back.
I feel so much better now.
Here's what I'm going to propose to you, and don't be obligated. Don't feel like you have to say yes. You say yes to me on like everything. Like, I don't know if you've ever said no to me on really anything, like even video ideas. I'm like, hey, can you cut a video with you doing this, this, and this?
Brian,
makes no sense. So bad. And then like 2 hours later, like she just sends me the videos. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, you'll see it when I cut it all together.
All right. Well, Julie thinks I've already seen it. And Julie also said I did the elephant thing. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Is that a Canadian phrase? Have you
seen the Drake video?
No.
The leaked video, not his latest music video.
I've never seen one of his music videos or this leaked video.
You haven't seen one of his latest, or you haven't seen any of his videos?
No, and I also can't name a single song.
But you know who he is, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure I know what he looks like. I know his name.
Okay, so just from a pop culture avenue that we're going on here. Okay?
Okay.
And if you don't feel comfortable, you can tell me no now, or you can just later on, you can give me your answer later off camera. I think it would make for a fun live that we do a live reveal of you. Just, it's not going to be live on here because we can't do that, but you see the Drake video and we're just getting your live reaction to it. Okay.
Can I get some type of guarantee that playing the video, if it gives me a virus and crashes my computer, that like we'll do like a crowdsourcing to buy me a new one?
That's a good point. And there were a lot of people that got had issues because everybody was out looking for this video.
I just think like I've never Googled anything dangerous on my computer.
Yeah, don't go Googling. Like any of you guys listening tonight, I know there was one person, I'm not going to name who she is. I made a comment. I made a funny video when that came out, and they replied, they're like, they had to go see it, and they were going to report back to me or whatever.
Okay.
But don't go looking for it because there were a lot of sites that were
malware
and all that stuff, and there was a lot of issue, and it's almost impossible to go out and find now. He's had it all scrubbed and removed or whatever, and he's confirmed that it was his video.
You have a copy?
I so happen to have a snippet.
Okay. Oh my God. You know what would be so great? Is if we did a live with me, you, and Greg, and we simultaneously got the reactions of me and Greg watching it. Unless Greg's already seen it.
I'm sure Greg's probably already seen it. Him and his, I just have this feeling, and I don't know, because I don't know his wife very well. I've met her once when we were up in that area a long time ago, but I think I'm not a non-freaky kind of guy. I think they're kind of a freaky couple. I think they've already seen it, and they've probably seen it together.
Well, from the way he describes Rachel, she sounds super cool. Like, I think I would be friends with her.
She is super cool. I'm intimidated by her. When I met her, I was so super intimidated by her. But anyways, would you be down for something like that? We can hash out details later.
I'd be down for it.
Would you really?
I'm nervous and scared, but I'd be down for it.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will set up the details of that live. Okay. And I say, I will coordinate with you. And I do want you to, in writing to me in some form or fashion, saying, I acknowledge and I am soliciting.
I voluntarily submit to this social experiment.
Something like that. Yes. Because I don't ever want to, at some point be like, have you ever sent an unsolicited thing to Amanda? And I'm like, well, I mean, technically I did, but it was a social experiment for making a live. But if you're down for that, we can come up with the details. And I think it'd be a fun, I think we all would like to see your reaction.
Okay. Can I posit this idea also, that I have something that I deem safe virus wise for you to watch and see your reaction on?
Like on the same,
a tit for tat.
See, there you go again with, you don't know what you're saying. And I'm going to
actually knew that time. I knew that time. And I was like, that's a good one.
I'm going to clip that stuff out, and it's going to be like the next 60-second clip that I put out. I
actually knew when I said that one, and I'm like, that's a good
one. So you have something for me?
No, but I'm going to find something.
Of similar, or this is of somebody doing like composting or what?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'll run it by you first to make sure you're chill with it, but I got to figure it out. I don't know. I'm like on the spot here.
Right. But like, are you thinking something similar? Like, but you have to, I'm just trying to think if you're trying to find something similar I haven't seen.
Is that impossible?
No, it's not impossible. But these are big pop, like I'm sure you've seen the Pamela Anderson one.
Nope.
Stop. Okay. Allison, Emma, Julie, I know you guys are still on here. I hope you guys are. You guys have seen the Pamela Anderson Time Lee one. That's the one that kicked everything off. Have you not seen that one?
Don't watch sex tapes.
It's not about, you can totally not watch it, but for pop culture, like when JFK died, like where were you when the Challenger exploded?
2nd grade classroom.
But this is right up there, I think.
Is it though?
Everybody else saying they haven't either.
Analogy, Brian. I mean, clip that for the next clip, like equating the Pam and.
But that's like huge. Not that time. I'm not saying that's huge. I'm saying.
Well, but I heard it was.
Well, yeah, but from a pop culture thing is what I'm saying. That was huge because that was the first thing that kicked everything off. That was before Kim's thing. Mm-hmm. That was before Paris got famous.
Does she have one?
Of course she does. Know. You haven't seen one. You haven't seen
that Rick guy? Is it with that Rick James? No, not Rick James. Rick Solomon.
Yeah. So you know that, but you don't know the video. There's no way.
You hear people talking about it in pop culture, but it doesn't mean you get on your computer and Google it, because then you're going to get a virus.
See, I'm still at some point I have to. What do they call cap? I'm calling cap on this.
Calling what?
Cap. Isn't cap when like you're calling bullshit? Are the kids still saying that or no?
Do you think I know what kids are saying? I'm too scared to Google anything that might give my computer a virus.
I understand that you might not have seen all of these, but the Pam and Tommy one is that I consider that a where were you?
Well, how old were we? We were kind of young.
No, Pam and Tommy was like what was it? 99, 2000?
Yeah, I'm not sure I even had a computer then.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know.
Guys go watch this stuff. Girls don't care.
Oh, I've seen Was it called like Girls Gone Wild?
Well, that was a DVD series.
I've
Where's
seen that.
where's Greg at?
I've seen Girls Gone Wild. Was anyone famous on those?
Well, that Solomon guy, that was his thing. The guy that you just so happened to know that was on the video.
That's the same guy?
With Paris. Yeah. The video is called One Night in Paris.
Okay. Oh, double entendre. Okay, hold on. But like, is Girls Gone Wild still a thing?
I don't think so, because it's Girls Gone Wild was. Look, I'm not this expert. You guys making me seem like I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about like astrophysics or something. I'm aware of this because this all came out when I was in college.
Right.
And I think Greg got those DVDs when he got all those, the Columbia House 20 free CDs for the price of one.
Hold on, Brian, I thought we were like the same age. I did not have a cell phone in college.
I did. Well, I had to, because I was working, my 3 years I was working in Jeff City as an intern at the Capitol when I was when I was in college. So I had a cell phone on me.
Huh. Was it like a giant brick thing?
It was big. This was like 95, 96, 97, I believe.
So I graduated college in 2000. Never had a cell phone in college. Made fun of like the one person in college I saw walking around with a cell phone. I was like, how important does she think she is? She needs a cell phone. So yeah, no, I never had one. Maybe that's why I don't know any of this stuff.
Wait, now I'm getting roasted. I guess is on Instagram here. You know the title of the video? Oh my God. This is pop culture stuff.
Okay, good. Emma didn't have a cell phone in college either. Wait, if your cell phone was for work, could you look at this stuff on your work cell phone?
On those cell phones, no.
Back then, you couldn't do anything on.
Those cell phones, all you can do is just dial, and
Yeah.
you only had so many minutes. I had to have it because the person I work for at the Capitol had to be in touch with everybody.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'll come up with something that you haven't seen. I'll find something. Oh, you don't know who Angie Everhart is. Maybe she's got something out there.
She does.
How do you know?
Well, look, a lot of these actresses, even from the 80s, to get into the news cycle, that was the whole thing. Mid 90s to like 2005. That was the ticket to getting out there. So if you're down for this, we'll work out a tasteful way. I think nobody's gonna. I mean, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but nobody cares about my reaction. But if you've honestly haven't seen any of these, then I think the funny thing would be to have you see the latest one and just a snippet. It's not going to be the whole video. It's just a snippet.
Okay. Like how long? How long?
12, 13 inches, something like that. But it was hard to.
How many seconds?
Oh.
How long of a video? Like time wise?
10, 15 seconds.
Okay, I can do that.
And it don't feel like you're being forced to doing it.
I'll send you a liability release.
You understand what I'm asking for, though. I don't want to I don't want to cross that line. So I just want you to.
I appreciate your, what's the word? I appreciate that you are so careful.
I am, and especially with our friendship. I do not want to take this lightly, but I do think it'd be funny.
Yeah, I mean, I might be grossed out, but like it'll be okay.
I don't think you're going to be grossed out. I mean,
I don't know.
From all we're talking comment section, and their comment section's been pretty favorable to them.
Okay. I kind of want to know. I want to like Google about the controversy, but I'm still
don't Google anything.
Google anything. Okay.
Don't Google anything.
Okay.
Don't Google anything. And I'm not. There might be somebody on here that's commenting that has watched it, but I'm not going to call you out.
What is Allison saying? 8 feet. 8 feet.
She may be thinking it's comparable, but I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, that's not favorable. It's just a joke.
Okay. I don't get it. I'm so stupid sometimes.
So I think that'll be a funny, if only if you find it funny, because this is kind of going into that whole mansplaining thing to where I was like, I don't want to be part of mansplaining where I'm forcing you to do this. I do not want that either.
Right. Which is why I feel like it's better like served if we make the live into like, can we shock the other person so that I'm showing you clips to see your reaction and it's not just me being shown something and my reaction. Then
Sure.
it's more of a give and take. And it doesn't look so provocative or whatever.
Okay, so I think just from the comments on the Instagram side of things, all of the ladies that we're friends with that I think would make sure that Amanda's not entering into something that she shouldn't be doing. Does anybody object? Because I want to make sure this is it's from a funny intent for, I think it'll be interesting.
I do too, because I think I'm going to find some stuff that's going to shock you.
I'd be more shocked if I hadn't seen it.
Well, then I'm definitely going to reach out to the ladies and be like, ladies, what are we going to show Brian?
Well, according to these ladies that are on here who haven't seen anything either, I don't think it's going to be much of a who do you know of, or is there anybody that we both know of, female wise, that you could ask that you'd be like, oh yeah, she would have seen it?
No, I'm not saying they've seen it, but they might know of it. Like I know of all these things, have yet to see them.
You didn't know about Pamela? You didn't know about Paris?
I knew they had one, but I haven't seen it. Wait, I forgot Paris had one, but then I rememred once we started talking.
You knew the guy that was in Kim's. You knew the guy that was in Paris's, which I think that's odd.
Yeah. No, I knew. Who's the woman in Drake's?
Emma's like, quote, "You see, officer, what had happened was."
Well, who's the female in Drake's?
The clip that I have, you're not going to notice her.
But there's one there.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think from what the comments that I've read is that this was on his bed on his plane.
I want a plane with a bed. Not to do that though, but to go to sleep. That sounds amazing. Sorry, we just flew to and from DC and it was like hellacious, and a bed on a plane sounds amazing.
Yeah. Can I cut that out too? I don't know. I'll see what I can come up with. Maybe none of this comes out very well. So that'll be our next thing. So
everything from tonight, you have to run by me first because I never know what I'm saying and it never sounds good.
I'm usually the one having to point that out to you. The wine and the two finger thing that you did the last time was like over like the top.
Well, there was like a bug in it.
I know, but I'm like, I didn't even, like, I was even telling you, I was like, Amanda, you can't do that.
Well, I didn't want to drink it.
I understand that, but you're doing that on camera. That's going live.
Well, it was like, Amanda, a bottle of Camus.
I know. I was there.
What am I supposed to do?
But the thing is, you don't know what you're doing or saying sometimes.
No, I don't. Or I decide, well, it's worth getting the bug out to be able to drink the Camus because I'm in my bedroom. I don't have an extra wine glass. So what are you going to do? Also, right. I've decided I don't like Bonanza.
See, I think I messed up because if you just had Bonanza without the Camus, I think it would have been a different experience.
I do too, but now I don't like the Bonanza and I've got like 3 more bottles of it. I'm going to have to give them as gifts.
Did you buy 4 of them?
I did. Wasn't that the deal at Target to get 4?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't shock me because you went and bought Camus for the live. So, I mean, why not buy 4 things of Bonanza for the 10% discount?
Well, yeah, you got a discount. And it was supposed to taste like Camus, but it doesn't. Also, I would unfollow that TikTok wine guy because it doesn't taste like Camus. Not at all.
Well, okay.
Okay.
So the next one we do with Amanda, we're going to try to do the swapping of the video live. You guys, if you're going to want to tune in and watch it, you won't be able to see the videos because we can't obviously do that. But she will watch it locally on hers, but we'll see her reaction. And then you can do mine however you want, and then I'll watch it over here, and you guys can get my reaction on that too.
All right, we gotta come up with a good title for this. Like, oh, isn't there like something called the Shocker? What do you do? Like,
I don't know what you're trying to do or reference.
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
The toy?
No. Like, you know, there's names for certain things. And I think there's something called the Shocker. And I
don't think any of us know what you're doing.
It's like, come on. Someone knows. Someone somewhere knows. Did Greg leave?
Greg's gone.
Allison says, oh my God, Amanda. So she obviously knows.
Yeah, see? You're talking about a toy, right?
Yep, a toy.
It's called the Shocker?
Sure. I'm done.
Why were you doing that hand gesture? That's not what I would. Anyway, okay, so that'll be our next one. If you guys want to join us for the next live, that's what we're gonna do. It'll be a very tasteful. Nobody will be able to see anything, and then if you guys haven't seen it, don't see it, and just go off of Amanda's reaction as she sees it live.
I'm going to work on a creative name for this live, but not the Shocker.
What, I'll be interested, and I would like to work with you on the thumbnail for it then. I think we can make a good thumbnail, right?
Okay. Yeah, it could have like the Operation game, right? It's a toy, right?
I'm thinking that. Well, I'll run that idea by you later. I've got a kind of an idea of what I can be doing on the thumbnail in reference to what you're going to be doing.
Allison, I'm responding to Allison on Instagram. You know he knows. He's just trying to get me to keep doing it.
No, I have never heard of any one of those called the Shocker. I can't imagine that they would name a toy the Shocker. You don't want anything shocking.
No.
Right?
Definitely don't.
Yeah.
All right. It's been fun. And I'm sure I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Allison's saying the stimulator.
Oh, no. Oh God. We're going downhill fast. We need to say goodbye.
This is going downhill. Okay. Wow. 2 hours and 7 minutes. That's actually our longest live, I think.
No. Oh, well, maybe it was you and Chelsea that went like 3+, right?
Yeah. Chelsea and I did like 3 hours of just watching YouTube videos.
And one time we all watched Star Wars together.
Oh yeah. Did that count?
That was
until you guys bailed, and then it was just me and Chelsea.
Allison was
there, and then Chelsea got into another fight with another guy or something. Yeah. Chelsea's kind of a feisty one.
She is, but like she's quick to shut it down and not let it affect her. Like she's like, I'm not going to let this affect me.
She's quick to shut it down. I don't know about not letting it affect her.
Well, it's when it starts to affect her, she is quick to shut it down and not let that negativity permeate herself.
Right. All right. Okay. This is a good one. I will see you later. Amanda, thank you for coming on, having fun tonight. And we are going to end the stream. Stay where you are.